Well, for the latest around the Spanish capital, we can cross now to Madrid and check in with our correspondent, Sarah Morris. Sarah, it sounds like the situation is still quite serious this morning.
It certainly is. The firefighters have gone back out up on the air now that the light has risen. They had a difficult night and a difficult day yesterday, but hoping that some of this cooler weather and lower winds can help them today. The temperatures are now under 30 degrees, which sounds a lot, but far better than the nearly 40 degrees that they were touching at some points of these blazing forest fires. Now, the big news yesterday was that the authorities said that they would classify as a state emergency that fire in Toledo, along with the fires in Madrid and in Avila. And that means that they can tackle them as a single command team. We saw further evacuations as the night closed. Notably, many of people had to be put to safety, including the command center itself had to move eastwards to Navalcarnero, and the firefighters are basically focused on hoping that more of those fires don't join up. Those fires in Avila, they did join up at some points yesterday, but in a broken line, hoping that the weather can bring a big breakthrough today, even as we're seeing in parts of the Madrid city that the levels of air pollution quite high, still a rosy hue in some parts of the city, a sign of the intensity of these fires.
Meanwhile, Sarah, these fires are prompting some soul searching in Spain about climate change and what the future is going to look like.
They certainly are, because we remember very bad fires last year when the Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez talked about the need for a state pact to tackle climate change. And in particular, he talked about a big unit across Spain that would supervise the whole of prevention and tackling fires. And of course, that hasn't happened a year on. Many people are wondering if the politicians will get together from both sides of the political spectrum to do something about it. We're also seeing many people in the newspapers and in the media reflecting on really what this means emotionally. We're seeing a very interesting piece by Pablo Herraiz in El Mundo, and he titles it "All Those Summers in Madrid Are Being Burned." And he speaks for a whole generation that went out into the mountains with their grandparents and with their parents, went to some of those beauty spots, and he cites them, many of them affected by the fires at the moment, the San Juan Reservoir, the castle at San Martin. He talks about being supervised loosely, children having a lot of liberty. And he concludes it, in the capital today, life is suffocating because of those very high temperatures. And in the mountains where we used to go for fresh air, you can't breathe. And he says, how sad and how frightening.
Yeah, I think a lot of similar feelings here in France as well, where a lot of people have been repeating the fact that this is probably the coldest summer of the rest of our lives. Sarah, thank you so much, as always, for your updates. That's our correspondent, Sarah Morris, reporting.